If you look closely at the physics governing our reality, you find a highly specific setup. The strength of gravity, the mass of an electron, and the expansion rate of space are all dialed to the exact tolerances required to forge complex chemistry and ignite stars. For decades, standard cosmology has treated the Big Bang as a one-off event, an isolated, spontaneous birth from nothing. If the universe only gets one roll of the dice, the specific constants we observe become a statistical anomaly. Our existence relies on the idea that a lifeless void randomly generated the precise mathematical parameters needed to build a star-forming cosmos. We can look at this problem through a different framework. Recursive cosmogenesis proposes that the laws of physics operate on an iterative loop, evolving over time much like biological life on Earth. Under this model, the perfect tuning of our universe is the expected output of a long refining process. It is a system that selects for complexity. Evolution requires a mechanism to store genetic information and pass it down to the next generation. In cosmology, this is an information problem. We used to think black holes were ultimate dead ends. The assumption was that any matter or information crossing the event horizon was simply destroyed, an information paradox that seemed to break the laws of physics. That view shifted with the holographic principle. Building on the work of Jacob Bekenstein and Stephen Hawking, we now know that a black hole's capacity to store information is proportional to its surface area, meaning data is preserved rather than lost. As a dying universe collapses, its physical laws are stripped of their classical state. The base source code of that reality is encoded directly onto the two-dimensional event horizon of the black hole. This creates a cosmic save file. The specific configuration of gravity, electromagnetism, and nuclear forces from the parent universe are securely archived on the surface. A black hole acts as a seed, containing the complete set of instructions required to generate a new iteration of reality. Storing the data is only the first step. That archived source code still has to travel safely to a new location to initiate the birth of a child universe. The transmission mechanism relies on a concept called ER equals EPR. It bridges two ideas proposed by Albert Einstein, Einstein-Rosen bridges, or wormholes, and Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen quantum entanglement. The theory suggests that quantum entanglement between the parent black hole and the potential child universe physically manifests as a wormhole, creating a topologically protected data bus. To prevent this conduit from collapsing, we look to brain-world cosmology. In a five-dimensional bulk, vacuum fluctuations, known as the Casimir effect, provide the negative energy density required to keep the wormhole throat rigid and the data packet coherent during transit. Space-time provides its own secure infrastructure, ensuring the physical laws of the parent survive the journey across the multiverse. Once that data packet arrives at the other end, the white hole, it must trigger the birth of a new reality. The complexity equals volume conjecture explains how this happens. It states that the quantum complexity of a state is directly proportional to the physical volume of the space it occupies. As the parent universe aged, its entropy increased, driving the complexity of the data inside the black hole. When this data reaches a critical threshold, that complexity acts as the fuel for the new expansion. At the Planck scale, the compressed data unzips in an orderly adiabatic decompression, converting mathematical complexity into the expanding lattice of our spacetime manifold. Our universe's origin was a boot sequence, executing the inherited physics of its predecessor. When universes reproduce and pass on data, they become subject to a process of cosmological natural selection. Consider an evolutionary dead end. A universe whose physical constants fail to form stars will never produce black holes. Because it cannot back up its data, it produces no progeny. A successful universe optimizes for black hole creation. Each black hole is a reproduction event, spawning thousands of children. Over eons, the source code best suited for complex matter dominates, filtering for the physics required to build stars, planets, and eventually us. The constants of our reality are the inevitable byproduct of this infinite cycle. Our physics survived because they were the most efficient at replicating through the black hole archive. We are living inside a self-optimizing computational engine. Gravity acts as this hardware, the standard model is the software, and we are the result of a process that has spent an eternity refining the laws of nature.